Hey everyone, it's Ben from River Surf Lab. I'm here today to talk to you about the Pipeline River Wave in Idaho and the boards I surfed there during the 2021 season. First, let's talk about the wave. Pipeline is a large natural river wave that's, in my opinion, pretty difficult to catch and surf. You have to catch it by jumping onto your belly and paddling to hit the wave at the perfect spot at the right moment a lot of the times when it's foaming out, allowing you to catch it. Once you catch it, you have to pop up, and then you can surf this shoulder, and if you're good, you'll be able to cross the entire face when it's green and surf the entire wave. I struggled a lot on it. This was my first year surfing Pipeline, and the boards that I surfed, while I brought a large number of boards, and a lot of them should have worked, but just for me, a lot of my boards didn't work because I was a beginner on this wave. So the boards I'm going to be talking about today are boards, a lot of different boards, high performance as well as kind of bigger boards. But I really needed a board that was kind of more beginner focused and a little bit more user friendly for me to be able to learn the wave. So let's get started. And I'm going to talk about these boards from my least favorite to my most favorite. To start, we have the Strong Water Runt 5-foot. I was not able to catch the wave even one time on this board. I probably gave it 10 tries and was not able to catch it. And this is just me not understanding that wave well enough, not being able to paddle strong enough. There was another guy, probably about similar weight to me out there, and he was surfing a 5.3 version, so a little bit longer. And he was just ripping the wave up, catching it every single time. No problem, surfing it from shoulder to shoulder, absolutely amazing. When I saw him ride his runt, I'm like, that's what I want to do. Grabbed mine, tried it out, and I really just could never catch it. And part of that is, with Pipeline, you have to catch it at the right moment. So you need to wait for the wave to foam up, and you need to jump from the shore and paddle out and hit the wave while it's foaming out. If you don't hit it at the right time, you're just gonna miss it. And so for me, like, part of it is just, I'm not a strong enough paddler for this board, as well as I didn't know the wave well enough where I could actually consistently hit that foam pile every time. So I tried this board a bunch, wasn't able to get it. I'll try it next time. Next up, I have the LibTech Lost Puddle Jumper 5.3. I tried this board a handful of times. I was able to catch it and stand up. I wasn't able to get really a good surf though. And then after I caught it that one time, I wasn't having any more luck. Again, I felt like I just wasn't quite a strong enough paddler for this board to make this work on this wave. There were definitely other people surfing boards like this at Pipeline that were stronger paddlers and were able to catch it fairly consistently. But for me, this was just too much of a struggle fest for me to want to invest the time to try to make it work. Next up, I have the LibTech Lost Hydra. This is the 5.3 version. This has a bit more foam than the 5.3 puddle jumper. And I thought this board was really going to work well, kind of the more foam felt like it would give me a little bit more paddle power. And I was able to catch it more often, but the thing that I found is that once I caught the wave and popped up and was riding it, I felt like I was really far forward on the board and constantly having to pump it. And the only thing I can think is that the tail rocker on this board is quite a bit, it has quite a bit of tail rocker to it. And I think the idea there is that with such a high volume board with a wide tail, they wanted to still allow it to turn, so they threw a bunch of rocker in the tail. And I think the result, at least for a river wave, is that it rides a little bit slow. And so that's kind of what I experienced. Was I was able to catch it fairly regularly, not great, probably maybe 50% of the time, maybe less on this board. And I was able to, catch it 50% of the time, pop up. But once I popped up, I felt like I was constantly struggling to keep this board on the wave. So it didn't really allow me to pop up, hang out on the wave, figure out where I was and how to ride the wave. I felt like I was always just popping up and struggling to stay on the wave. So it worked, but not that well for me. Next up, I have this big old beast, the LibTech pickup stick. This is the 6.6 version. This is the easiest board that I rode for catching the wave. Like I said, normally you have to wait for the foam pile to appear on the face of the wave before you make your jump and try to catch the wave. With this board, I was literally able to go at any point in time. It didn't matter if there was foam or not on it. I just jumped from the shore, was able to basically skim and slide all the way out to the wave, make a few paddle strokes, and I'd be able to catch it. So very easy for me to learn how to catch the wave using this board. Although it didn't really help me learn how to time the jump with the foam pile. People who are good that are out there seem to have this sixth sense. They are able to see the future of when the foam pile is going to appear, so they're jumping before there's any foam, and by the time they get out to the wave, there's a nice big foam pile to catch them. This board didn't force me to learn how to figure that out, but it did help me figure out how to do that jump and how to catch and pop up on the wave at the right spot. The problem with this board was that once I was riding it, it felt like it was way too long. Once I was standing up, it felt like I was constantly running back and forth on this board, trying to keep it from purling. It just felt like way too much board for this wave. Ideally, when you're learning a new wave, you kind of want a board that's easy to catch the wave like this, but once you catch it, you just want to pop up, set your feet, and just hang out there and be able to, you know, kind of relax and not have to worry about like staying on the wave or purling the board or coming off the back of it. You can just hang out in one spot, relax, learn the wave, and then kind of start slowly making your turns. This board did not really allow me to do that. Although there were people who were surfing much longer boards, probably 8.6 or 9-foot boards there, and they seemed like they were enjoying them. They were much better than me. So it's nothing to do with like the size of the board, but mostly with my experience and how good I was at surfing that wave. This board would probably do well in someone who's more, for someone who's more experienced and likes riding a longer board. This would probably be a great board. But for me, while it did allow me to learn how to jump out and catch the wave, it wasn't really a great surf. The next board I'm going to talk about, I don't actually own. It's the Badfish Reverse. It's a newer board that they had some prototypes of this year, and I borrowed one from Brittany Parker. It kind of has a much more ocean outline than Badfish typically does. And I found with that board, I was able to catch the wave. It was difficult. I was probably, I would say maybe 30% catch rate on that board, maybe even a little less. So it wasn't super easy to catch the wave, but I was able to catch it. And I found that when I popped up on it, I could just set my feet and I was able to surf the wave without having to worry too much about flushing off the back. It also felt like one of the more high performance boards that I was able to surf as a beginner at Pipeline. Most of the boards that I was surfing successfully felt like very big and kind of slow to turn. The Batfish Reverse really felt like more of a high performance board, which ideally that's what I want to surf. I want to surf the highest performance board I can on a wave, and that was what the Batfish Reverse was for me. Wasn't super good for like learning the wave, I would say, because it was a little bit hard for me to catch it. But once I was catching it, that board was a ton of fun. Next up, and my second favorite board that I surfed at Pipeline, is the LibTech Lost Freak Flag Beanbag. This is the 510 version. This board was relatively easy to catch the wave on. Unlike the pickup stick, I did have to wait for the foam pile to appear for me to catch it, but as long as there was some foam on the wave, I felt like I could catch it with this board fairly consistently. So the catch and the pop-up on this board were fairly easy, but once I was surfing, I didn't really like, it just felt like too much board for the wave. It felt like it was turning too slow. I really wanted something a bit smaller. There was someone else out there with a shorter beanbag. I think it was probably in the 5'4" range. And he was having a ton of fun on that. It looked like he was able to turn it a bit better and get it into more spots on the wave than I was. I was mostly surfing the surfer's left shoulder. On the shorter version of this, the other surfer was able to surf the entire thing. But this felt like a little bit big for me. I'm about 155 pounds, and this board, while it allowed me to catch the wave, just felt like more board than I wanted to have out there when I was surfing. But it was a balance rate. Me as a beginner, I needed to find some sort of balance between a board that's going to allow me to catch the wave, but also allow me to have fun and surf it. So this was a pretty good board. You know, allowed me to catch it fairly consistently. It was a good beginner board, but I felt like it was too big, and I didn't really enjoy surfing it that much. All right, the last board we have here, and my favorite board to surf at Pipeline as a beginner, was the Badfish Shuvit. This is a 5'2", so fairly small. It's got a lot of volume to it, 45 liters of volume, and it has a pretty flat tail to it, which I think the volume, the width, and the speedy tail was really what allowed me to catch this wave extremely consistently. Not as consistently as the 6'6" pickup stick, but consistently enough where I was enjoying surfing it, and caught, I would say, like greater than 50% of my waves that I surfed on this board. Once I was able to catch the wave, pop-up was very easy. It's a very stable board, and I felt like it surfed very well. It does feel like a higher volume board, but it felt way more maneuverable and made better turns than the Free Flag beanbag. Also, it being so short, I was able to just set my stance once I popped up, stay there. It didn't feel like it was going to constantly fall off the back of the wave because it was too slow. It didn't feel like it was constantly going to purl because it was too long. I was able to just set my stance, hang out there, figure the wave out, slowly start to make bigger turns. And I really felt like that was exactly what I needed for Pipeline. I actually borrowed Brittany Parker's version of this board while I was there. It was my first time surfing it, so I had no experience on this board, and I found this was super user-friendly. So this was my favorite board to surf at Pipeline. I think it's a great board for beginners that are surfing Pipeline. Yeah, I think I'll probably continue to use this board at Pipeline and other waves similar to that, just because it really does provide a user-friendly platform for learning how to catch waves like that are, you know, paddle in or jump from the eddy, as well as waves that, you know, maybe require like a shorter board to keep it from purling, but you need something fairly fast. This seems like a pretty decent one. So yeah, for me as a beginner at Pipeline, this was my favorite board. It's kind of what inspired me to go out and buy one of these after I surfed Brittany's there. I'm looking forward to surfing Pipeline again and improving my skills. I'll definitely be bringing this board, and hopefully, you know, as I get better, I'll be able to go to maybe a slightly higher performance board. But for me right now, this was perfect. My favorite board for Pipeline 2021. That wraps up my board comparison for Pipeline during the 2021 season. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorite board is at Pipeline, or maybe just give me some tips on how I can surf Pipeline better. Stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to talk about the new City Wave at Lake Chelan in Washington and the boards I surf there. Thanks.